Hello everyone. I'm very, very happy to be here. It's an honor to be here. So thanks a lot for inviting me. It's such a cool conference. So you're expecting to see something else, right? It's always typing at night, coding. It's not like coding, I guess, right? Like a letter. My name is Lemi. I'm from Turkey. I'm working as a software craftsman and managing partner at ACM, which is the leading consultants and training company about Agile in Turkey and in the region. And who is developing software here? Coding. Oh, the majority, like. Cool. So I'm also a software developer. I've been developing software since 2001. At the beginning of my coding journey, I was just waiting for the tasks assigned to me. And whenever they assigned, I tried to complete it as fast as possible, and I didn't really care about other aspects like testing, like analysis, like performance. So there's no need to check the performance because someone else in the performance team or test or quality assurance team, they have work to do. They should check the performance, right? And I don't really care about testing because someone in the test team, these were their job. So I wrote the code. I'm a very passionate guy for coding. I love working at nights for coding. And I spent my years for just coding and failing. I can write a book how to fail in 1,000 ways. So my projects failed, even we undeployed the product from production code, and we deleted the code from the code base. I mean, it's a whole bunch of failure I experienced, and I try to ask myself why I'm failing a lot. At 2008, I encountered the Agile Manifesto. With the team, we decided to be agile. And how can we do agile? How can we to be agile? There's a Scrum framework. So let's learn it. Let's read from internet. There are tons of good posts, blog posts about Scrum. So we read all of them and start implement it. And we failed dramatically. No one can achieve for the first time, like Neo cannot jump from one building to the other building for the first time, and we failed a lot. And at the end, at the team, we gathered and we decided, I guess we should quit being agile. So agile is not for us. Let's find a different way. So I went to a training and I came back and I said, hey people, we are doing totally different and we have to inspect and adapt the way that we work. So from 2008, kind of 2010, we start to be agile, one step at a time, and I admit that we did a good job at some point. However, we feel that we are not still agile because we are happy, we are inspecting and adapting, we are doing iterations, and 2 weeks iterations, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 1 week, we tried everything. But we couldn't feel that we are agile. So where is the point? Because we noticed that with the crappy code, you cannot be agile. If you write a crappy code, anything that you can do will improve your processes. However, you cannot be agile. The only way to be agile is changing your culture, your development culture. Removing a crappy code cannot be achieved by writing a good code. That can be achieved by writing or changing the whole software development culture. So I will describe, so this presentation is about my experience, all the things that I did, and some of the things that I did, and I think that those succeeded well, but it doesn't mean that they will succeed for you, but anyway, I hope you will like it. So let me introduce myself a little bit more. So I'm coming from Istanbul, from Turkey, and I really love the idea of Agile. I'm the community leader of Agile Turkey and founder of Agile Software Craftsmanship Turkey, and I'm an ex-Sony Europe and eBay Turkey employee. I worked almost 10 years at Sony Europe, and I worked in almost all steps, all kind of titles related with software development at Sony Europe, and I'm the translator of many manifestos like Software Craftsmanship Manifesto, SOA Manifesto, Disciplined Agile Manifesto, and the Agile Manifesto itself. I was one of the members of the translators. So agility. When I think to myself, what is agility? Agility emerges for helping people to build productive processes and high-quality software. High-quality software, that's interesting because there's no specific definition of a high quality in software development. So when we think more about agility, so we encounter many different aspects. It's more than you think. It's like team collaboration, customer satisfaction, sufficient documentation, even talent acquisition. There are tons of different agility. Agility means a different culture that you have to fit to your company or your team, and that is hard. This is of course hard because changing a culture of a company is hard. So there's a technical agility here. So without a technical agility, you cannot be agile. You cannot be agile the overall. So technical agility, is it about knowing languages, knowing technologies? We learn lots of technologies. We learn lots of back-end frameworks, front-end frameworks, languages, tools, databases. Oh shit! We have to remove that relational database, and we have to put something a NoSQL solution, a document database. Oh, we have to index everything on an Elasticsearch or Solr. Which one is better? And we have to work a lot on learning everything. But at the end, the whole code base is kind of crap at the end. I spent all my life to learn many of the technologies, and the thing that I develop is a crap at the end. Why? Why? So I'm asking to myself, and I noticed that technical agility is about how well you use them. It's not about the technology itself. Even with COBOL, you can write a very efficient software in specific areas, of course. So there are tons of different behaviors, of practices. Some of them are good practices, some of them are so well practices, but at the end, there are tons of ideas, values, practices, behaviors, and those are a lot. And we have to, at some point, we have to focus on them to achieve the technical agility. So, in order to change the culture, so in order to achieve a technical agility, we have to change our development culture. I am very lucky that Sony Europe development team had a position calling Agile Practice Lead. Agile Practice, I worked as an Agile Practice Lead for 2 years in order to set up the agile culture within the development team, and my only concern is to improve the agility. So there are tons of different. It's not an easy job. I have to work a lot with the developers, with many people, with managers, and I have to detect the open points, and I have to push people to improve themselves. So development culture is the most important thing that we have to build. So it doesn't mean that with a team, it doesn't mean that you write something, you have a development culture. Development culture is a bit different. So I will describe some of the points, some of the practices that we implemented, and we think that it's a good practice. So let's check one by one. The first thing is answering the question. The question is, how do you build software? How do you build software does not relate with writing or coding. It is, there are lots of values and practices, and you have to define your values with the vision of your company, and you have to define the practices, and the practices are not in Mars. They are already defined in many places, like Agile Manifesto, like in extreme programming, like in software craftsmanship concept. So there are lots of good practices, and you have to define it for yourself. Why? Because expressing the vision of your team is not enough. You have to write it down, put on your wall, and if someone calls you, I don't want to write the tests at all, and you should say that, hey, everyone as a team, we agreed on these practices. So I wrote a kind of this for several times for several teams. Oh, it's a lot of items, so no one can achieve. So it's like on career sites, career sites, you have to know AngularJS for 10 years. So it's like, there are tons of items here, but this is the vision. You have to state the vision. These are the values, these are the practices, those should be agreed with everyone within the team. Put on your wall, and when someone says that, I want to deploy to production, and you should say that if a code is not reviewed by someone else, you cannot deploy. I'm sorry. Or if someone says that I fixed that bug, and you can ask that, hey, you agreed on that. You should reproduce bugs with automated tests before fixing them. This is our practice, and you agreed on. So this is the practice, and yeah, almost 95% of them you cannot achieve at the first time. So you are very far from the vision. Okay, that's fine. But all your testing strategy, your training strategy, your whole strategy can be built on top of this. So it's like a vision and mission statement of your company. Okay, I really loved the idea. I experienced it. So the second point is every company should have a foreman. Foreman is a concept that I learned from Robert C. Martin, Uncle Bob, and after I learned, I noticed that I worked as a foreman at Sony for a few years. Foreman is this. So while building a construction, people are working like paintings, they are doing paintings, and with hammer and they're working a lot. And someone walks around them, and they check. And they check. They check to see if they are doing well. If they are doing well, no. The paintings are not working very properly. So the foreman, the master of the craftsman, he says that you should check this part. You should check this part because according to our standards, this is wrong. So let's do it again. I can help you. So someone should focus on the big picture. Should focus on the quality. Should focus on the mastery, on craftsmanship. So foremen are the guys. They are true believers. So they are software craftsmen. So they remind you about the principles. If you are not writing automated tests, or if you are just trying to test in production, I saw many times, and write code on production via VPN. and trying to fix problems. So someone should remind the principals, and it makes sure that everything done right. Someone should believe in them. I know sometimes these guys just kick off from the company just due to that, but someone should do that. And they check test coverage, they review all the code bases. I was reviewing all the code bases from all the projects that I haven't worked before. It's the first time I opened the code base, I checked the commit, and I asked, where is the test? Because I will review the code, and I don't want to review the indentation. I don't want to review where is the curly brackets. It's magazine. So everyone hates reviewing the magazine. I want to review the logic. And in order to just understand the logic, I don't want to compile on my head or run on my head. I want to see the test. And when I see the test, I can understand how the code works. So I really ask, please commit to your test, even though there is no test. Please commit to your test, and I will review again. So someone should review, and someone should check low quality points that we should improve, and propose technical improvements. Of course, everyone should propose technical improvements, but someone should be dedicated on them. And also, they should propose the technical trainings. I always check people's skills, and I always gave proposals about trainings. I gave many trainings by myself, and mentorship, work together. They should spend half of their time with the developers just by pair programming. Right? So, of course, they should convince people, and unreasonable demands, they are the ones who can reject, and no one loves them. But anyway, someone should do that. And define standards. So, do you have a standard for naming conventions of your database? So, do you have underscore? What is the naming convention? What is the standards of your tables? So I see tons of places having English and Turkish mixed namings in the database. What is that? It's almost the same wording with different languages, almost double. Double names, double tables, copied. So someone should check them, and someone forced the team to define the standards. Of course, continuous delivery is a must in every company in order to be agile. Agile processes, of course, and identifies the missed dependencies. Okay, Foreman is a very important point. The third one is the tools. So every profession has a tool set. Well, not every profession, but most of the professions, like doctors, a stethoscope, like hear the heartbeats, and like hammers, and paintings. They're always painters. They always have the tools, and we have the tool set too. And if you are if you are belonging to a profession, which means that software development is a profession, and we are professionals, we have a tool set, and we have to be masters of this tool set. We have to learn everything about the tools, everything. So what are the tools? So from my point, these are my tool set. That might differ for yourself. However, those are my tools. So IDE, I have to learn, I have to know, I have to use my IDE in a perfect way. Is like all shortcuts. When someone looks at your computer, he cannot understand how can you write in such a fast way, because you use all your shortcuts and live code templates and such. Thanks for IDE for that. And your build tool, if you are using Java or Android, iOS, whatever you use, you have a build tool. Some of the languages have a build tool. Source code versioning system, Git or SVN, or or TFS, whatever you do, whatever you have to be master of it, because it's your tool. Without being master, you cannot be a software craftsman, and you cannot be fast. You cannot write cool software or high quality software in a fast way. Also, code analysis tools, your continuous integration server, your console, Vagrant, Docker, or whatever you use. Those are the very important tools for your development environment. So this is my tool set. So that might be different for yourself. Okay, so this thing is I really love. So we build the software, then we are responsible of it. We build the software, and someone on the test team, they are responsible for testing and analysis. An analysis team responsible of their analysis, and there's a performance team, load tests, and never-ending memory leak tests and such. Their job, and it's no way. You cannot be agile by this. You have to feel responsible of your work. What does that mean? It means that you have to be responsible of your design, your architecture. Even I see many companies that they have an architecture team. They are the ones who decide the architecture. Everyone else will be implementers. We are the designers. And they are working in a cool way in the company. I design everything, and the others will implement it, but I designed it. And this is wrong, because I'm the one who implemented. Then I have to design it, and I have to test it because I implemented. Why someone else tested? Because the other guy just tested the best scenarios. Happy path. Happy path will end on the dead end. Happy path. So there's a one big happy path, and everyone looks at the happy path. But of course, on the first minute of your production release, everyone looks at the extreme paths. No one will follow the happy path, or I mean, so we have to check, we have to monitor, we have to check the performance. At eBay Turkey, I achieved to have 100% code coverage. I was in such a mood that I posted screenshots to everywhere, to LinkedIn, to Twitter, and I achieved 100%. No one can achieve. I'm the one who achieved 100% code coverage. So at the end, when we deployed production, I had 4 critical production issues. That means that the application is not working. Even so, when you click on the page, you have to wait 35 seconds to open. So I had to check the performance by writing a functional testing or functional test, automated functional test. I have to check the functionality. Unit testing is not enough. Okay, operations. So that means that is the idea of the founder of Amazon, right? What was his name? The founder of Amazon? Bezos. Jeff Bezos, right. Thank you. Therefore, the DevOps culture evolved because I am the responsible of the operations as well. Okay, the second one, there's a must in software craftsmanship. Software craftsmanship is a movement that it believes that the only way to write good software is being good at software development. Good software can only be built by good developers. Unfortunately, if you want a good software, a successful, I'm not sure if it's successful or not, but a good one, you have to be good at it, good at software development. So, number one prerequisite for software craftsmanship is sharing what you know. You have to be in the communities. You have to share your knowledge inside your company, inside your team. What we did is we organized brown bag sessions. Brown bag session is a lunch and learn session. It's a very common activity in many places like Google, like eBay, like Foursquare, as far as I know. At Sony, I organized more than 112. I organized 100 weeks in a row. Every Wednesday, someone gave a training. Juniors, seniors, technical architects, analysts, everyone trained the others. How can that happen? You have rules, so everyone has to give a session. That's a must. Oh, that's scary, because when in surveys, talking in front of people is the most scary thing, even most scarier than death. So in one of the sessions, one of the technical analysts of my team just went on the stage and he lost consciousness. Because he's too excited. She was too excited. So, okay, not a problem. But we don't have to be experts. We can work on that. And after organizing 100 meetups on the inside the company, I got tons of feedbacks. And some of my friends told me that I'm working in this company just because I'm very curious to see just what is next on the next week. Okay? Interesting. Expertise TDD. Expertise TDD, okay, it's fine. TDD, everyone knows what is TDD, test-driven development, and everyone says that it's a good thing, but hey, I'm scared of changing things, and I spend days for manual testing. So the only way, so if you experience these, you're right. Zombie is not a legacy software anymore. It's a zombie. So it sucks your blood, and you cannot kill it because it's already dead. I mean, so how can we achieve that one? So we have to write a living software. So living software is what it means. A living software, it has to breathe, right? Okay, it has to breathe, and so there are 3 rules of writing a living software. The first one is continuous refactoring. Continuous refactoring. The second one, continuous testing. The third one is evolutionary design. Oh shit, those are very hard things. Continuous refactoring, continuous testing. We have a limited time, but fortunately, there's a concept that encapsulates all these three ideas. It's TDD. Okay. When you design your software by TDD, you cover everything. But why I'm just struggling on that? Why everyone hates implementing TDD after saying, oh, TDD is a good thing, but I don't do it anymore. So why? Because designing software is hard. TDD is not about writing tests. It's about designing software, and without TDD you can design your software, so that's fine. But if you want to design and refactor and blah blah blah, you have to try TDD. And designing software is hard, and you never reserve time for write tests. You reserve time for fixing bugs. We always have time. I'm sorry. Because we are fixing bugs. It means we have time. And we don't follow the roadmap. The roadmap is not a secret composition. That is something that I believe that this is the roadmap. So we have learn, establishing platform steps, and according to the roadmap, you have to learn unit testing, mocking frameworks, unit testing frameworks, automated testing types, functional testing, integration testing, and such, designing so object-oriented programming and details, refactoring best practices, clean code principles. Without knowing these, how can we design software? How can we start TDD? Those are prerequisites. And also we have to establish some of the applications like continuous integration server, your source control, notification when continuous integration fails, and you have to monitor code coverage. After that, you have to perform via katas. You don't perform. You don't try at first in your production code. You have to test, you have to warm yourself via katas and develop TDD via acceptance testing and your behavior during development and such. Those are the roadmap. I think that this is roadmap that we have to implement, and we tried. Okay. The other one is code retreat. Code retreat is a practice that for one day you spend all your time for writing tests, implementing TDD and pair programming with someone that you don't know, you haven't met before. It's in the global day of code retreat where we implemented. I'm sure in Lithuania you have a code retreat. So we have 35 people and organized at Sony. At Sony within the team, we organized a code retreat and they spent all their time for writing tests and TDD. And after 6 hours of writing code, and they said that this is the most effective and productive training I have ever met. And I said, this is not a training because I didn't teach you anything. You wrote your code, so it's just a workshop. So everyone can facilitate. Please facilitate on your own company. Okay. This year we will also organize it. Okay, 14th of November. So we have to build new habits. Software developers, we have new habits. We have to build our new habits. So these are like checking others' codes with yours regularly. That is continuous integration, by the way. So review continuous integration, build status. Is it broken? Is it red or green? Review SonarQube reports, static code analysis tools. Everyone should look at every day at least once. Okay? Review commit graph. So commit graph is not a highway, so it should not diverge and inverge. I mean, your commit graph should be clean. And review your bug reports and review technical depths in your backlog. Please keep your technical depth in your backlog, because when you put them into your backlog, it can be prioritized, and you can. At some point, your product owner can decide that please do that big refactoring, okay? And define a roadmap for craftsmanship for juniors and for seniors. For many times, many of my friends says that, yeah, you are always talking about software craftsmanship. Yeah, I know, but how can we improve ourselves as a software developers? And what we did is, we prepared a roadmap. The roadmap is prepared for ourselves. It's like apprentice, youngling, Padawan, Jedi Knight, Jedi Master, Jedi Council, Grandmaster, and Yoda. And when you become a Yoda, it's like a Martin Fowler, or you would become a Robert C. Martin. But anyway, this is the roadmap. And so there are lots of validation techniques, and almost all of them saying that share what you learned with the other guys, and break you won't scare anymore, because you have to teach, you have to share your knowledge many times, okay? And we start this program in our company, and I believe people are moving step by step, okay? And never release an unreviewed code to production. It's a very tough practice, but we have to achieve. In order to achieve, we have to establish a code review process. I was pushing my friends since 2005 to do code reviews, and no one really cares. It's like, we were using tools for code reviews. Number one technique for doing a code review is work together. Pair programming is one of the most efficient practice to do code reviews, because when you're writing, someone looks at your code and they are giving continuous feedback on runtime. And when you skip your test, the other guy hopefully will say that, hey, I think we missed the test. Let's write it. Okay, let's do it again. Okay, so we force ourselves as pairs. So I love on the last slide. I always love to give that advice. Whatever we do, we should not forget to enjoy. We should feel our sense of humor. We should have nerdy practices, like whenever someone comes to your team as a new team member, you do weird, not jokes, but weird stuff to newbies. For example, what we were doing is whenever someone comes to our team, we always, on the first day, we always buy stuff to put like furry cat or toy, weird stuff, but it should be weird. And like if you have a bug, if there's a bug in production, and if if that bug is caused by you, you have to wear some hat, a big hat, till you fix it in the overall company while walking. And one day I should have put the picture, because I wear that hat and I was working on the code. I tried to write the test, but it's a mocking hell, you know. If the code is not written as testable, it's not written via TDD, you cannot write easily the test afterwards. Test last development is a pain in the ass, unfortunately, and you have to mock everything. The world, you have to mock the world to isolate the class outside the dependency graph. And while I was working on that, and this CIO of Sony Europe, just from back, just smiles, and that they took a picture. And I thought that, oh, my head is cool, right? I thought that they're taking photo just because of the hat, but the CIO was there. Okay. So thank you very much for listening to me. I'm very happy to be here with you. Thank you.
So it's time for questions.
I wanted to ask about Foreman role you were talking about, and the question is, how many teams did you guide as a Foreman in Sony? And the other one is, don't you think that it's a responsibility of all of the team, not only for one person?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's like 6 or 7 teams at Sony, and I was checking all their code base, even though I could not give a very cool feedback from their code base, because I didn't know the code base at all. However, someone should check it. Of course, theoretically, this is the responsibility of the team itself. If I'm working as a team, I'm responsible of the quality, for standards, for everything. However, in practice, it's failing most of the time, because till you achieve build the culture correctly or efficiently, someone should be the Scrum Master, like the Scrum Master of the whole team from technical perspective. So it was hard. I had to spend almost half of my day with the other teams, with the guys. For example, one day I went to I met with a guy, and I told that how it's going, and he said, I'm trying to boot up a Tomcat, the application server, and I've been doing it for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, she was trying to boot up the application server. And I said, so just remove your fingers from keyboard. So you won't do this anymore because your team should help you on the next daily stand-up. And you should inform them. You should have informed them. So daily stand-ups are there. Daily stand-ups are planning meetings, and you should have informed everyone to ask for help for 2 weeks. You stuck on some task, and no one helped you. It's not possible. So so someone should check the implementations of the agility and and mentor them, definitely. And your second question was, what was that one?
The second one was, don't you think that it's a responsibility for all of the team? So you already tried to answer.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's responsible for everyone, of course. But till the culture is built. Okay.
Any questions? Okay, Lemi, I have one more question for you.
A tough one.
I was listening to your presentation. It was so enthusiastic. So maybe you have a recipe for me. Like, I'm not a developer. Maybe there is somehow like I can become like a Chuck Norris in development.
To become a Chuck Norris in development?
Like you have a Yoda. I want to become a Chuck Norris.
I'm a true believer of software craftsmanship. So investing on yourself is the key point. For example, I don't really wait for my company to invest on myself. In many companies, for example, they are waiting for the company, for the manager, just to send him to training. I need that training. I have to learn, but no one sends you. In the company, it does not invest on you. So this is our profession. We are software developers, and we have to improve ourselves, and we are not the sons of our company. They are not our fathers. And we are individuals, and we have to invest on ourselves. We have to go to conferences, go to communities. We have to spend our spare time on what we believe, what is the passion, what we are passionate of it. So the thing that I can advise is that to everyone.
Okay, thank you.